I will jump a lot on the slides, but okay. Well, the thing is that we are here for the AAVE protocol, no? So what, first of all, a bit about me. I'm Ernesto, I'm a blockchain engineer. So I come from Spain. I was just a software developer. I like play football, this kind of stuff from Spain. And at some point, like I suppose your case or whatever, I discovered Bitcoin, and they were trying to disrupt the bank economy. So I said, yeah, it's fine. I'm also kind of revolutionary, but not so interesting. And then I discovered Ethereum. Ethereum came up, and I say, okay, this is a bit more interesting because more like programmable bomb in that sense. So if we want to disrupt, it's better to make it build new stuff and changing from the inside. So basically, I joined the company, and I start to build inside it. So basically, AAVE, AAVE is inside the DeFi ecosystem. That is completely our field, and we really believe in how the DeFi ecosystem works. Basically, everything about composability and building. We do that. We have the pieces that we use previously from DeFi, and we hope that you guys will do the same, and the rest of the people. No? So I suppose you know more or less what is DeFi, but DeFi is like the centralized non-custodial protocols and all the services around. So it's more or less like the classical financial system in terms of functionality, but with the complete control on the users. In practical terms, it's basically the financial software built on Ethereum, and not only in Ethereum sometimes, no? Well, this is a bit old diagram of what is considered more or less DeFi. Some of the products here are not anymore. Some of the new ones are not there, but this is more or less the picture, no? You have payments, infrastructure, wallets, whatever. So we can say that the AAVE is in the credit and lending square. No? For example, there is Ethland, and usually people ask, "Oh, but AAVE, you are the guys from Ethland." And yeah, basically, before AAVE, we built Ethland, that is like a peer-to-peer lending protocol of borrowers and lenders. But now it's a little bit different. So how we came with AAVE, and which is the problem that AAVE tries to solve. So the first building block that we needed, it was a decentralized and stable medium of exchange, because that generates that people wants to borrow money, for example. You can deposit money and have a stable earnings on top of that money, and kind of DAI was the foundation piece, like, because it scaled everything in a decentralized way, some other currencies. So that is the initial piece. No? Another really important advance that we took inspiration on, and basically our model is like that, is the earning tokenization models. So what they mean is like the E tokens in BCX or the C tokens in Compound. And what it means is that you can just grab the normal tokens that you deposit in a lending service, and that new token has a growing exchange rate. Decreasing exchange rates actually, but what it means is that it gets value over time because the protocol is getting interest. No? So that opens the huge possibility that you just deposit in a lending pool, and you get interest passively. It's not like in P2P before, in the sense that it's not direct, so the profit is smaller, but let's say the user experience is in orders of magnitude above, because you just deposit, you just kind of forget, and you just get the returns. So those are the main things that we get inspiration from, and because they support the backbone economical, it will be like the stable coins, and then the composability that is more the part of the tokens. No? So we say, okay, let's build something like BCX or like Compound, but we're going to make it a bit better in our opinion. No? So what you can do with AAVE is like I say, you can deposit, you will earn from those deposits, you can borrow, and everything in a really liquid way. Like you go there, you deposit, you get your A token that represents the growing deposit. and if you want to borrow, you go there and you put a collateral and borrow. But the thing is that, as almost everybody in the ecosystem, we since the beginning thought, okay, the most important part of our protocol is actually having the people building on it, because that is the way of how you get a network effect. No? Is the product can be quite big by itself, but you will never scale above that if you don't have the composability. No? So that's it more or less about AAVE. I hope is clear. It's just a money market for borrowers and lenders. About the integration, more or less the integration of protocols like ours is similar, but of course open to creativity of whatever anybody comes with, and there is different levels of complexity. The normal integration is like the kind of on-chain, off-chain integration, but it's more user-facing. So you just create a kind of client wallet or with some smart contract-based wallet, and from there you just grab the functionalities of the protocol and you just offer a better interaction than the protocol itself application or that. In our case, for example, we have, right now we are running in Koban, the contracts, and we will have the release on mainnet soon, like during this month. And we are running both the protocol level, like the smart contracts, and we have a client application also, like in mobile and in web. But the idea is that we want people just to integrate in their own clients and build more network effect. You know? So that will be the first type of integration that is not the simplest, but is the most straightforward, and it's like Argent, Coinbase, Wallet, Ethereum. That is what they do. Then the next level that is quite popular lately is like the derivative tokens on top of kind of the interest accumulating tokens. In our case, it's called a token. So it will be like RDAI, GDAI, or DDAI. That is more a smart contract wrapper on top of the other contract that allows you to do something simple. Like RDAI, you assign the interest to somebody. GDAI, you pay the gas of operations in the blockchain with the interest that you earn in the token, etc. I suppose you are familiar with it. And of course, the next one is and the last one right now is the ecosystem actors. And the ecosystem actors is completely related of how Ethereum works. When you build a system and you want it to be completely decentralized, and based on economic incentive, you need actors like, for example, keepers, like that fire the liquidation of positions, or the liquidators themselves. That in our protocol, for example, is like people that has the capital to liquidate, so they kind of repay liquidated position, and they get the collateral with a discount, so they can play with that. If they have the capital, they have the tools to liquidate then the collateral to another currency. It's perfectly fine. Or for example, the DeFi savers and refinances, that is more like in the derivative tokens, I would say. So those are the three typical examples of what are seen right now in DeFi that people is building. But this is like 4 last months. So probably in 2 months more, there will be like 2 more. But the thing is, we have a lending protocol similar to VCX or to Compound. But what is different in AAVE, and what you can do it for developers? No? The feature that actually is getting more excitement is for sure what we call the flash loans. And the flash loan, the thing is that it allows you, it's about the use case, because it allows you to borrow in under-collateralized way. So you don't have capital, but you want, it's under-collateralized way, but within one transaction. That is the point. So it's kind of a bit tricky saying that it's in under-collateralized way, but factually it is, because during the transaction you can do whatever you want with that capital. We call them flash loans because of that. So I will explain a little bit more later, but a scenario will be like you want to make arbitrage trading in different decentralized exchanges, and you don't have any capital to do it, but you see opportunities, so you just borrow for one block, you make in the same transaction multiple trades in different decentralized exchanges, you get some profit, and the only condition is that you need to return before the transaction ends, you need to return the same capital you borrow, plus a profit for the pool, and the rest is your profit. So that is the main use case. The stable rates, for example, in other protocols like BCX or like actually Fulcrum or Compound, they only have a variable rate, because the interest rate of money market protocols, the most puristic and how it needs to work in the core because of the economic model is variable rate, because it's depending on supply and then demand. Is utilization of the pool. No? Borrowing money, deposit money, the equilibrium of those creates a interest. No? So what we offer is another type of interest that we call a stable rate. We don't call it fixed because it's not fixed, but we call it stable because it's based on local stable points. So what it means is that you have points of stability over time, and you can borrow, for example, today at 3%, and probabilistically, you will not be a change of 3%. You can be changed under certain conditions of the protocol. That will be if the earning rate of deposit in the same currency is higher than the rate you borrowed. So, for example, if you borrowed at 3% fixed, but then the utilization rate of the pool changes and the earning rate is 4 or 5, that will generate a situation where you actually borrow money and you deposit and you get profit. So at that point you will get rebalance and you will get changed to another stable rate. But during the previous time you will pay fixed. And that is quite useful because fixed interest is important for institutions to calculate, to accounting, that kind of stuff. And what we allow also is the rate swap. That is a consequence of the previous one. So you can basically change at any point. The borrower can change at any point between stable and variable rate. The variable rate is just the algorithmic rate, depending on the utilization. Those three are the new stuff, basically, that we do with the AAVE protocol, and of course, the rest is just a money market and completely open and decentralized. So now I will go a bit more in detail of what is available to do. Right now we have a GitHub. Like I said, we have the contracts running in Koban, and in the GitHub we have the code of the smart contracts. It's not the final version, but it's the one running in Koban because we are with an audit in process. So once we finish the audit, we will actually open source everything and it will be fixed. We will introduce also some governance to upgrade some parts of the contracts, and we'll stand from there. But the main functions for sure will be the same, and probably the interfaces will not change. So, well, I will go function by function because it's better. So, basically, you can deposit, no? To deposit, the main contract of the system is what we call the lending pool in the user facing, because it's the contract where almost every action needs to be interact with. So, for example, the deposit, you call the lending pool contract and indicate which is the reserve. The reserve is the token you want to deposit. So you indicate the address of the reserve, that is the token, the amount you want to deposit, and we also have an on-chain referral system that right now is not active, but it will allow potentially through events to catch referral codes, no? And to reward the referrals. I think that actually is quite new because usually those kind of programs are not implemented in the smart contracts level. This doesn't affect the state so much. At the end, we just store the reference, but it allows a lot of stuff in a decentralized way. So yeah, the deposit is this. You need to make an approval actually to another contract, that is the storage contract we call lending pool core. That is the one that makes the transfer from the user. That is the only requirement before calling this deposit. No? Then the redeem is one of the functions that actually you don't need to interact with this lending pool contract. You need to interact directly with the A token. The A token, how it works in our architecture is that the reserve, we only have the lending pool core for the data, no? And for us, reserves or tokens are just registers of data there. In other architectures, like for example Compound, for them the A token itself has all the logic of the lending and borrowing of each currency. In our case, it's not like that. Our logic is in a core smart contract that keeps the data and then maps everything there, the funds and everything. No? So the redeem, the deposit goes to the lending pool core, and you receive in exchange the corresponding A token. So to redeem, actually you need to go to the A token and transfer that you call a redeem function, this function, and it does a transfer from of the A token, and it talks to the core to say, okay, return the funds accrue with the accrue interest to the people that did this. This is the reason why actually the redeem needs to be called in the A token, because it's completely A token functionality. But the A token is completely ERC20 compatible, so you can do whatever. The only addition is this function and logic related with the exchange rate of with the underlying token. So, for example, the exchange rate A token and the normal token, it starts at the beginning of the protocol with an arbitrary number. Actually, we are going to put 100, and then that exchange rate, as the protocol accrues interest paid by the borrowers, will go down. So the A token will be more valuable as the time goes on and people repays. So this is the redeem. The borrow is completely simple, like through the lending pool. So the same, you indicate which reserve you want to borrow from. Here the reserve, the amount. You indicate the interest rate mode if you want to use variable or stable. That is just the UINT reference. And the same, the referral code. For now, the referral code is not important at all, so it can be just a 0 and that's it. Some detail. Some in the code, in some parts, we have the fixed terminology, but we identify that it's not. For us, it's perfect, but in the sense that it's a good reference and we understand, and for developers, it's also understandable, but it's not exactly. So in the documentation, we use stable. The repay is also a really simple function. It's through the lending pool. So the same, you indicate the reserve, the address, the amount you want to repay, and then you can also, you are allowed to repay on behalf of somebody else. Then you can actually find use cases to do that, even like tip people that actually repay their loans, or even I imagine cases with derivative tokens building on top of that, and it's really interesting. It's a really simple functionality, but some of the protocols don't implement it. Yeah, nothing interesting here. Liquidation, this is for what I say about the actors, the kind of keepers, but it's more liquidators, because it's not in the keeper model usually they just fire the liquidation, but here you need to deposit them in the currency. Here, let me be a bit more clear. The liquidation is over a particular position of a user. So that user usually has different collaterals combined. And in our protocol, each collateral has a different liquidation threshold and liquidation parameters. So it's kind of granular in the sense that the more risky collateral currencies will have a higher threshold, because that and the liquidation point also will be you will have more channel between when the liquidation starts and when it actually is completely liquidated, because that way you have more flexibility to actually take the collateral and go to the exchange, that discount. If not, we experience, for example, in Ethel, our previous product, cases where even with important margin of discount, like we have like 5%, but we also were considering 10%, and even with 10%, with some tokens, where it was not possible. Like you get the collateral, but if the price is going down, that is usually the case, you try to liquidate it and you are not able to. So yeah, basically you need to do collateral by collateral of people to make the liquidation. So it's a user position. I will liquidate this part of your collateral, and because then you also allow liquidators of certain currencies, because some people has optimized system to liquidate, for example, I don't know, DAI, or to liquidate some other coin. So with the collateral, the reserve is what they borrowed, the medium of exchange, so it's what you are going to transfer to cover the liquidation. And the purchase amount is the amount. The user is to refer to the user position that's liquidated. And also there is the possibility of receive the A token instead of receive the token instead of getting the normal one. So yeah, there is more information here, and everything, the liquidation depends on this health factor. That is basically a factor that means that when it's in one, it's open to liquidation. The loan, so the borrower should avoid always be below one or in one. Should be always high. Okay, and the most important and kind of new thing is the flash loan. And basically, like I explained before, the flash loan function, what allows is to, at the beginning of the flash loan function, the funds are borrowed from the pool, from whatever reserve you indicate here, and these funds are sent to the receiver. That usually is not usually, it should be a smart contract, because could be a wallet, but it makes more sense. A smart contract to do something with the funds. Actually, it will not work with the wallet. And then the amount. But how this works is this is transferred to that receiver contract after the borrowing. Then that receiver contract does whatever is necessary to do, or whatever is the profit model. And then at the end, that will return. So it's really simple function that you borrow, you send everything to the receiver contract, and then you need to you have a require that the receiver contract needs to send you back the same plus a fee that is fixed for the depositors, for the protocol, and that's it. And the rest is for the receiver contract or whatever that contract does. So yeah, how to implement this? I'm going a bit more on the technicals because it's the new thing. Is that we have this flash loan receiver base. There is another contract, no? And you should inherit from there, from this thing that basically implements methods like internal borrow and stuff like that. And you have a execute. Where is this? Yeah, it's not here the example, but basically this contract has a execute operation function. No? Should have this execute operation function, and then you put the custom logic you want there. So that's it. At the end, you only need to if you inherit from there, it gets back to there, and that's it. And how you fire the flash loan is however you want. Like the flash loan function in the lending pool is you can just fire with a normal wallet, or you can have a system with a smart contract that fires the flash loan. The flash loan redirects to the receiver. The receiver does whatever it wants and returns the fund. Something interesting is about the use cases. This is a real use case, for example, in being a liquidator in Compound, but not having funds. Like, you just use the funds of our protocol, and there are really, really big opportunities of liquidation in any lending protocol. So you borrow for one block, you deposit that to cover the liquidation in Compound, you receive the collateral, then you go, for example, to Kyber with the collateral, you fire the swap, because you want to recover the currency you actually borrow from our pool, and then you return. Probably you trade in the middle with with what you swapped, and you return to the pool, and that's it. And the pool receives a fee that is basically sharing to the depositors, and it actually puts the earning rate up, because basically theoretically you can have a block by block, all the blocks doing flash loans, people doing flash loans and using the resources to do operations, generate profit, and part of the profit, even if it is small, is block by block to the protocol. So it can be quite effective for that, and that's it. But there are, of course, usually kind of endless use cases for the flash loan. It's on you to think about something. Yeah, and yeah. It's one. And yeah, just the reference to finish. Developer Talks here is the GitHub and the Discord, and this is my Telegram. But I will be around. Stani and Jessica are also around, so just contact me and I can help in whatever you want. And that's it.